Hello, and happy Strategy, friends. Psyberry here with another Darkest Dungeon How to Use guide. Before I get started today, thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, share this guide with a friend. I want to send out a really brief thanks to you guys. We're up over 350 subscribers. Every day that goes by, I'm getting just that much closer to the channel goal of 1,000 subscribers, and you guys are to thank for that. So I wanna say I really appreciate you guys out there for tuning in, watching these guide videos, or watching my Let's Plays. Regardless, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Anyway, let's get down to business. That's never gonna get old. Alright, today we're gonna take a deep dive into how to play the Powder Keg. The Powder Keg was released October 5th of 2020, and it was last updated March 25th of this year, 2021. Let's breeze through the credits real quick, and then we'll dive right into his base stats. Moon Kanan did the concept, sprites, animation, visual effects, the icon and trinket art, strings, and programming. Shay did the sound design. Uncanny Gemstar did the ability balancing and also programming, and Cryptix was the professional bug exterminator. So it's a group of hard hitters that worked on this mod, and I really appreciate how it turned out. Let's take a look at the base stats like we do with everybody. The max HP starts out at 20 at Resolve level 1 and moves to a max of 36 at Final Resolve. This is below average, not gonna lie, but this is about Grave Robber HP. So there's gonna be some concerns keeping him alive, but he's got some things stacked up in his favor that will help him survive, that we'll talk about when we get to more of his base stats and also some of his combat skills. One of those base stats we were going to talk about here is the dodge. The dodge is a 10 at first resolve level, and it moves to a 30 at final resolve. This is above average. This is the best dodge scaling of the default classes that isn't a jester. Let's put it that way. So if you add a dodge trinket to him, it's going to be very helpful. So if you got a dodge trinket, it's going to add 15 in the condition you're in. You're going to find he's going to evade a lot of attacks incoming, and that's going to keep him alive longer. But this is the same scaling as the Grave Robber and the Hellion. The prot, as you would expect, is a 0%. You can buff this if you're worried about him taking hits. It's an alternative way to go. He is pretty functional if you give him something like the heavy boots as well. That'll give him 20% prot. Speed. He's got great speed. He's got a 7 at opening resolve, which moves to an 8 at third resolve, and a 9 at max resolve. So he's got the same speed of a Plague Doctor, the Abomination, and I'm probably going to mention those two classes here soon when we get into his kit. The accuracy is a 0 as you would expect, not a plus or a minus, just kind of normal. Now, his crit is a little unusual. It starts at a 6%, and it will move up 1% at each level until you're going from 4th Resolve to 5th Resolve. It will stay at a total of 9%. So this is a good way to make him top tier crit as far as his class is concerned, because he's a great critter, but he doesn't ever get to that 10%, which is common with the Grave Robber or the Arbalist. But he scales with those classes up until the very end. And damage-wise, he's considered in the top tier of damagers. He's going to do the same damage stat spread of a Crusader or a Hellion, start at 6 to 12, and at max resolve do 10 to 19 damage. You can trinket him if you want that leper damage, but you're going to have to give him something that'll give him like plus 25, maybe 30% damage to get him there. So after looking at that, you see that he's a little bit breakable in the HP category, but the dodge, the speed, the crit, and the damage keep him well above average. He's an offensive machine. So don't let that surprise you when you see his skill set over here. It's going to be a lot of damage, of course, a lot of focused moves, and then self buffs, riposte, that kind of thing. With the first combat skill, we're going to focus on his Spear Thrust. It is usable from rank 1, 2, or 3, and you may target rank 1 or 2 of the opposing side. It's a melee attack with an accuracy base of 85, and it does an additional 15% damage versus bleeding targets. This is a good way to compound if you've got, let's say you got a flagellant, or turn 1 you used a turn to make them bleed, which I will go over later. This is a really good way to compound that bleed effect and get extra damage out of it. And it's also just a good frontline punishing move. His second ability is Flak Shot. It is usable from rank 1 or 2, and it will hit both rank 1 and 2 of the opposite side. It's a ranged attack, and it will move him back 1 rank. Has an accuracy base of 85, a damage modifier of negative 40%, and a crit modifier of negative 5%. This is pretty standard to see that kind of crit mod on a multi-target attack move. And the damage is actually pretty good, doing 60% damage to 2 targets. I mean, you do the math, that's a little bit more damage-wise, but it is spread out on 2 targets. This will also debuff the target with 100% base for minus 5% stun resist. I believe at max that gets pretty high. No, it looks like it stays at minus 5. I lied to you. I apologize. But this is a good way to kind of, if you want to reposition him into a slightly farther position in the ranks, not a bad way to do it. And this is also a good front end of the party cleave. His third ability is Staggering Shot. It is usable from rank 1 or 2 as well, and it is usable to target rank 1 or 2 of the opposing side. It's a ranged attack with an accuracy base of 95, a damage modifier of negative 67%, and a crit modifier of plus 1%. This will stun the target with 100% base and debuff that target for minus 3 speed with 100% base. This is not a bad stun, and coupled with that minus 3 speed debuff, this is not a bad way to limit the effectiveness of their future turns as well as denying them the next turn. So this is a really good move that I end up using fairly often in combat. His fourth ability is Nail Bomb. It is usable from rank 1 or 2, and it targets every rank of the opposing side. It's a ranged attack with an accuracy base of 85, a damage modifier of negative 90%, and no crit modifier. Meaning it doesn't alter your crit. This will bleed the targets with a 90% base for 1 point a round for 4 rounds. So this is a long-lasting bleed. If you can get it to proc, if you want to use this and set things up off of that bleed, you're going to want to equip trinkets that are going to boost this bleed chance. But you're not going to have to work as hard as you might think. It's only 10% lower than a standard single-target bleed move would be. So you're going to find it's relatively easy to get at least 3 bleeds out of this kind of move. His fifth ability is Visceral Attack. It is usable from rank 1, 2, or 3, and is usable on rank 1, 2, or 3 of the opposing side. It's a melee attack that moves this character forward 1 rank, has an accuracy base of 100%, a damage modifier of negative 50%, and a crit modifier of negative 3%. This clears the stun on that target, and bleed versus those stunned characters at 100% base. And that bleed will be for 1 point a round for 3 rounds. Now, this last line turns this visceral attack into an actual visceral attack. So if they're stunned, unable to move, you're going to do a bonus 300% damage versus that stunned target. You may have noticed, and it might have thrown you off for just a second, when I was reading through its damage, and it was 50%. So if you're going to use this and get the most out of it, you're going to want to set him up with a stun on a character he can reach in those front 3 ranks right before his turn hits. So this is where that speed fixing rule I made a video on a while back comes in. He's got a really high speed. You're going to want a stunner who has a really high speed, and then you want to set them up so that they are 6 speed faster than him on average. That will make sure, it'll all but guarantee that that person will go first, then he will follow immediately after. So if you want to rank one, or a turn one, excuse me, if you want a turn 1 visceral attack, Plague Doctor is a really good option. So is the Abomination, because their speeds are the same as his, but you can trinket them to boost that +6. His 6th ability is Rallying Slash. It is usable from rank 2, 3, or 4, and it targets one of the front 2 ranks of the opposing side. This is a melee attack. He will dash all the way forward to the front rank, and this move has an accuracy base of 90, a damage modifier of -67%, and a crit modifier of -3%. This activates Riposte. It will also heal him 2 HP, and it will debuff his Riposte damage to -40%. -40% Riposte damage is not bad at all, especially for a starting Riposte. I believe that gets up to somewhere, 15 even. Wow. You will, it will add a Riposte chance crit as you progress, and do up to -15% Riposte damage. So he's a pretty strong Riposte. And I find I use this move a lot. If I don't feel like I want to, chase the stuns or the bleeds to get really maximized effect out of these, then I will just set up a Riposte and then do damage until there's nothing left. It's not a bad tactic either. His final ability is Blood Bullets. It is usable from rank 1, 2, or 3, and he targets himself. He's going to suffer 3 HP damage, and he's going to, with an 80% base, bleed himself for 1 point a round for 2 rounds. And he's going to buff himself, plus 50% damage with ranged skills, and plus 5 accuracy with ranged skills, and a plus 5% crit with ranged skills. So this is straight up out of Bloodborne. Like, a lot of these moves have that kind of origin, but this is straight up Bloodborne shit, and I love it. So let's real quick go over his camping skills. He's got the generic Encourage Wound Care and Pep Talk, and his first unique camping skill is the Blood Vial. This is a time cost 3 camping skill that is only effective on himself, and it will heal himself 40% of his HP. This is really effective if he's really, really hurt. It's limited in use a little bit in the fact that he can only use it on himself. Most HP healing abilities are usable on a companion instead, but seeing as he's got a Blood Vial and is used to hunting alone, this makes complete sense. His second camping skill, Warding Incense. I use this like every time I go out with him. It's very good in any party, and it's even better in a dark run, a nighttime party, so whatever you're going to call it. But this is a time cost 3 Prevent Nighttime Ambush skill that also reduces the chance of party surprise by 20% for 4 battles, and it's going to increase the chance monsters are surprised by 20% for 4 battles. Those are 2 things that if you're on dark runs, those are the bane of your existence unless you trinket or somehow use skills to fix those. So I think in unscouted battle, I think it comes with around like a 30 to 40% chance that your party is surprised. This is going to cut that in half or better, and this is going to give you an edge when you are not surprised to surprise them as well. So if you have scouted that fight, this is going to add 20% chance that they are surprised. It's a very good skill, and it only gets better in dark runs. This third skill, Lead the Hunt, is also really useful in dark runs. It's a time cost 3 ability, and he's going to boost himself plus 20% damage versus beasts for 4 battles. minus 20% stress if the torch is below 26 for 4 battles, so that's really good, and a plus 20% scouting chance if torch below 26 for 4 battles. So you're going to get a combined effect in dark runs here of 20% scouting chance, hella damage, hella stress, negative, and then nighttime ambush, party surprise, minus, and a chance monster surprised bonus. These two together are very good. The only thing you're going to have to consider yourself with is time cost 6 total. And his final camping skill, Workshop Tools. This is time cost 3. You select a companion, and they are going to get some buffs for 4 battles. An 8% crit with ranged skills buff, a plus 20% stun skill chance with ranged skills, and a plus 20% move skill chance with ranged skills. So if you've got an ally that would benefit a lot from getting crits, and either has a ranged stun or ranged move skill that you were going to frequently go back to, this is a really good skill to use on them. I'm going to run out with a Plague Doctor later, and they are going to really love this when I camp, which probably won't be in the video, it'll be later on, because I'll be showing like the first 4-ish combats. A couple other things to go over here real quick on the uniqueness of this character. The crit effect is going to be a bleed for 3 rounds, a bleed of 1 for 3 rounds on the target you crit. It has a 180% base chance to affect them, so it's going to be really, really likely that those crits are going to cause bleeds. Sometimes it won't. I mean, if you're up against a high-level skeleton, it's not going to. But it's pretty good in that way. Also, some unique qualities. He has custom virtue and afflictions. The custom affliction is 75% likely. It's called Frenzied, and it's going to give you a 10% damage boost. Debuff your dodge by 10, debuff your accuracy by 5, and you are going to be taking 10% more stress damage while you are frenzied. The virtue, which is 25% likely, is Vigilant, and it's going to give you a bonus of 20% damage, plus 5 dodge, and you are going to receive 30% more of each HP heal you receive while you are virtued. So those are both very interesting, and they're fun. I haven't looked in depth about like the act-outs of these virtues and afflictions, but it just strictly mechanically with the damage, they're both going to help you do damage, so it's not really going to matter which one in that way, but the minus versus the plus to dodge is quite a discrepancy of 15 dodge between them. So you definitely want to be virtued, but if an affliction happens, it's not really the end of the world for him. You just have to be careful. As far as party compositions go, he works really well with high-speed stun classes. Like I mentioned before, Plague Doctor and Abomination are 2 I would keep in mind. However, if you are going to chase the first round stun, first round visceral on a stunned target, be sure that the other 2 people in your party have enough offense to keep you moving forward. You're going to want to at least take out some of those targets who can attack, and if that stun is a double stun, like from the Plague Doctor, leave that other guy alone, just so that you're eating less damage, and it makes this visceral technique worthwhile in that way. Otherwise, don't worry about the stunned target. Like, unless you really, really want to use visceral attack, I wouldn't worry about hitting a stunned target while they're stunned. Some other synergy notes, he works really well in bleed comps and on teams made to go on dark runs. He fits in seamlessly in those as well. Now, as far as quirks go, what would I keep on him? What would I lock on him? Damage quirks are huge, obviously, and he's got quite a fair share of ranged versus melee. But I find I gravitate towards his melee skills more, but that's mainly because every chance I get for a riposte, I'm going to use it. So, and the fact that every time he's going to riposte, it's going to return a melee attack, that's the one I would probably buff, but you could go either way. Other things to increase through quirks: dodge is great, and speed is not a bad secondary consideration. Real quick, before we get to his combat, let's take a look at his trinkets. I'm going to have to scroll a lot. There they are. There they are. Alright. The first one we're going to go over is his crystalline trinket, the Crystal Bullet Case. It's going to give a minus 25% damage with ranged skills and a minus 10% bleed skill chance. And in return, when you use a friendly skill, you are going to stress heal yourself for 4. So this is not bad, especially if you want to use his friendly skill a lot. If you're going to use blood bullets a lot, then this is going to be very helpful. His second trinket here is Powder Keg Badge. It is the very rare trinket, and it's going to add 15% damage with ranged skills, an additional 15% damage versus beasts, plus 5% crit with ranged skills, and it's going to come at a cost of minus 5% crit with melee skills. This is a really good trinket, especially if you're going to utilize certain abilities when he's in combat. This is the opposite of how I play, is the only problem. I've used this a few times, and it's not nearly as bad, even if you're using a kit where half your skills are melee. This is not that bad. The only nerf you're going to get on those skills is just crit chance anyway. The next trinket we're going to look at is the rare trinket Bone Marrow Ash. This is going to give a bonus plus 40% damage with ranged skills and a minus 5 accuracy. And what it's going to do besides that is it's going to subtract minus 30% to your ranged damage skills after the first ranged skill and until the end of combat. So you're going to use one heftily empowered ranged skill per combat, and then it's going to debuff itself to mostly back down to normal damage. It's all going to come at a cost of minus 5 accuracy. This is not bad if you want to get like one good shot in, whether it's the stun shot, you just want to be more powerful, or whether it's the cleaving the front ranks range shot. This could be really useful on certain groups. The uncommon trinket is the Bloodied Eye Bandages. It's going to give you a minus 15% stress buff and a minus 15% stress versus Eldritch buff, and it's going to subtract minus 5 accuracy and minus 5 dodge on that back end. So if you're just worried about stress ramping, if you're going into a really long dungeon and you're worried about him being targeted a lot, this is not a bad way to kind of help yourself for future combats. Especially if you're going into a dungeon where you know there's going to be a lot of Eldritch. If you're going into a Darkest Dungeon quest, or if you're going into the Cove. His common trinket here, the first of which, is the Cold Blood Ashes. It's going to subtract 10% from your bleed skill chance, but it's going to give you 20% damage while bleeding, and a minus 20% damage with ranged skills. So if you want, let's say you want a melee version of this class, and you're going to use mostly his riposte move and his other melee attacks, all you really need to do to make this happen is to hit blood bullets and lock into that bleed chance happening, which is not that hard. His bleed resistance is pretty bad, so this is going to happen a decent chunk of the time. But if you can make that happen, you're going to get a bonus 20% damage, and you're not going to take any of those negatives because you're not causing bleed if you're not using the ranged attack to do so, or a crit, actually, but that is still going to be good enough with that 180% base. So this is a kind of cool trinket. It's especially useful for being a common trinket. And a second common trinket, the Powdered Shrapnel. It's going to add 25% to your bleed skill chance in exchange for minus 1 speed. I find I've used this a few times. I usually only use it if I've equipped another trinket to make all of his skills cause bleed, or if I'm planning on using Nail Bomb. But it's sufficient. Adding 25% chance to Nail Bomb's bleed chance is enough to make it last on most targets. So, real quick, I think I'm going to go on a, since I have some bleed in the comp, I'm going to go on a Warren's run here, and I'm not going to use a lot of Blight from my Plague Doctor, so it shouldn't be a problem. We'll take those anyway. In our Powder Keg, we're not equipping any of his custom ones because I just wanted straight up damage and straight up dodge. So we're going with this. And the whole premise behind this is we're going to use Plague Doctor with a quick draw charm and plus 8 speed on the first round, meaning his first round speed is 15, which is 7 higher than this speed, guaranteeing that he's going to go first, I think 98% of the time. So we're going to go first here, double stun, and then rank 3 is going to get visceral attacked. Then we'll probably spread out and show a little bit more of his moves after we see that a few times. But I just wanted to show its consistency.
They breed quickly down there in the dark.
Alright.
But perhaps we can slay them even faster.
It's not going to matter much which way I go, but I'm doing this entire dungeon even if it's going to be off screen. So we're going to go the short way first. It's less to backtrack. I don't need to loot because we're coming back. Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. I better get rid of that bleed. I've got plenty of items.
Thirsting for blood.
Damn traps. Alright. Well. Alright, here's that stun we're talking about. Get the guy in rank 3 and we're fine. Perfect. Okay, we are going to hit visceral attack on this baby for that bonus 300% damage.
Decimated.
Ooh. He only had like 12 HP, and I had 36 to his ass. Alright, now I've got a custom trinket on him that is going to hopefully come out soon. I'm going to release a Final Fantasy VII skins mod compilation thing, and I wanted this to come out with my Sephiroth skin for the Hellion. But what it's going to do is it's going to add a bleed chance to hit to his also blight chance. So hopefully striking for both. Hell yeah. And you're not at range to stun, so let's see if we can get rid of him. But now I've got a bleeding target, so I can show off the bonus damage. I'm going to do this. It's best if I show off more moves from the class I'm focusing on. And I'm going to eat a free attack. Beautiful. Alright. Spear Thrust, bonus damage against bleeding. I could hit either of these f***ers. We're going to go... Oh, no, I can't reach him. Damn. Well, we're going to kill him.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
Let's see. Nothing special. Let's get rid of these corpses. Why not? Why not? Why not? Alright. We don't have any... I suppose that would do decently on the front guy. Or the rallying. We'll show one of those. I'm going to, again, skip turn.
As the fiend falls...
Staggering Shot normally hits 2. There was only 1 alive, so maybe we'll show that again later. I'm going to keep most of this kit the same. But we are going to remove that for Flak Shot. Oh no, Staggering was the stun one. I was using the right one. Okay. It would have stunned then. Golden. Hey, that's going to be fun on the way back. Oh, f*** off. Ooh, some people. Fun. We got 4 up in here. Okay, we got extremely unlucky. That first round did not go to our 15 speed Plague Doctor. We got that 3% chance proc. Oh no, your speed is 12 right now. Oh, son of a bitch, you have quick draw. I didn't even notice that. That throws off the odds. Don't let that happen to you. Well, I'm gonna hit the rally.
Executed with impunity.
Get a kill, set up riposte. A very strong riposte. And then I'm going to hit you.
Another one falls.
Let's just stun the one. Good, I got the shuffle because I wanted to kill the non-stunned one.
Be gone, fiend.
Alright, well that's gonna throw off my chances.
Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
We're gonna keep Visceral on. We've now shown Rallying Slash. I'm gonna move that, shuffle these on just in case. And I'm gonna keep that because it's really functional on this team. So hopefully we'll get another opportunity to show the Visceral, because if not for Quick Draw, that would be happening very, very, very often. I can't believe I didn't notice it. So many things to, you know, focus on making these guide videos, and overlooking one thing is just, it's saddening. Alright, we got it in the proper order this time. I'm gonna do another one of those Viscerals to show us wiping out this swine wretch. Cause some bleed. I guess we're wiping him out. Oh man. Doing it in the 30s damage category with, I believe it's a level 2 or 3, is pretty good. It's pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Alright. Well, it was 3 battles. It's normally where I draw the line. And seeing as there's no more in this direction, we'll keep that rule intact for now. You should definitely give the Powder Keg a try. He's a very, very powerful and potent damage dealer. He's got the riposte if that's what you're looking for. He's got a self-buff that turns any of his range skills into a killer. It's very good. He gets that bleed. It's a fun class, especially if you're going to be running with anybody who can stun with great efficiency. So, yeah, we're going to have another... we're going to have, hopefully, a video popping up, an extra one popping up this week coming up, and we're going to have the normal Let's Play on Wednesday, and another Straturday video next Straturday. Thanks for watching. Stay frosty.